So this is the second session of the One Welfare World Conference. Welcome everybody. We hope that you have slept well and that you had the opportunity to visit the city. Those of you who are connected online, thank you for being here, and I hope that you are ready for a very interesting day in which we can continue learning and reviewing the One Welfare concept and the work that is being developed internationally. Laura Boyle is our next speaker. She comes from Ireland and she's going to give you a brief overview of her work, and it is the first keynote. So Laura has the floor. Good morning and please enjoy the day.
Thank you, Rebecca, so much for inviting me to chair this session on One Welfare and the Environment, session 3. I'm very excited about this. This is a topic that's close to my heart. I work for Teagasc, which is the Irish National Food and Agriculture Development Authority. So as I've explained to a few of you, we have a nice model where we have education and advisory and research under the one umbrella. It's a semi-state body. I've been working with Teagasc for scarily coming up to 28 years, working on farm animal welfare research. And in the past 4 or 5 years, I suppose, I've become increasingly interested in how closely farm animal welfare interacts and interconnects with issues related to the environment and issues related to human quality of life, etc. So, and I have some recent projects in this area, and I was talking to a few people saying how I think it's important. Traditionally, we just looked at things in silos, I suppose, and very single components, whereas now I like to do more holistic research. So, without further ado, though, let's move on to the program. So the first keynote speaker is by Abdelkader Bensada from the United Nations. And he's going to talk to us about the United Nations Environment Assembly's resolution on animal welfare, environment and sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good morning to everyone. As mentioned, I'm Abdelkader Bensada. I'm coming from United Nations Environmental Program based in Nairobi. I work on biodiversity and land branch. I have been working for the last 25 years with United Nations, UNDP, World Bank, UNEP, and now with UNEP. I am not an expert on animal welfare, though I have been working a lot on sustainable livestock management and rangeland management in West Africa, among other things. So today I would like to give you an overview of the resolution of animal welfare resolution that has been adopted by United Nations Environmental Assembly last year. That was a very unique event and high momentum for the animal welfare. Okay, how I can move this? Sorry? No.
Can we get the slides moved on or help? Here comes someone.
So is this one? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so an overview of UNEP, United Nations Environmental Assembly, United Nations Environmental Program, which is based in Nairobi, is the only United Nations environmental agency that with the UN Habitat that are based in Africa. Most of all the United Nations are based in Paris, New York, Geneva. So the United Nations Environmental Program with UN Habitat are based both in headquarters is in Nairobi, in Kenya, and the mandate of United Nations Environmental Program, for sure most of you know, is more on the environment and are considered as the lead agency on the environmental issue on mandate and bringing the coherence of the implementation of the environmental agenda within the United Nations environmental system, within the United Nations system, and this is done through enabling, informing, or inspiring nation people for better life without compromising their nature. So how United Nations Environmental, UNEP, is governed by two main bodies, which is the United Nations General Assembly in New York once a year, and the other one is United Nations Environmental Assembly that is take place in Nairobi every 2 years. So these are the two major United Nations Assembly. The one we have in Nairobi is the second largest one, which is held every 2 years, where all the countries, all the member states attend this assembly through their Minister of Environment, and some countries came with president, so it's a big event for 5 to 1 week, where member states debate the environmental agenda and adopt new resolutions that found is the momentum to be in the agenda of the United System or in the global agenda for the environment. So that's what happened in UNEA, United Nations Assembly, held on March 2022, where the member states adopted a resolution called Animal Welfare, Sustainable Development, Animal Welfare, and Environment and Sustainable Development. This has been sponsored by a few member states that they push this resolution to be on the table for discussion. There were 7 countries are mentioned here. Burkina Faso, Ghana, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Pakistan, and Senegal. Those are the first countries that put on the table this resolution, and then they bring other countries with them, and the resolution has been adopted. It was one of the more difficult resolutions in that UNEA, because, as you know, the resolution talk about animal welfare without distinction between domestic and wildlife, while UNEP is more focused on environment, on the wildlife, not on the domestic aspect. But as we report to the member states, and this has been adopted with no objection at all by 194 member states, so it's become one of our mandates within our work plan as a UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program. And the resolution is very clear. It's requesting United Nations Environmental Program, of course, open availability of resources, to produce a report in collaboration with other UN agencies and other organizations like Agriculture, FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the World Organization of Animal Health, OA, and WHO, as well as the One Health High Expert Panel. So the member states have asked us, though we know that other organizations are working on this and are leading, etc., to coordinate and to collaborate with them to produce this report, which shows the nexus, demonstrate the nexus, the linkages between the animal welfare, the environment, and sustainable development. Also identifying the key stakeholders to consult, to work with, where relevant, produce the report, and then do a peer review. It means that send it to member states for review before to be adopted and to be presented during the 6th UNEA, which is planned for next year, 2024. So this is the summary of the resolution, that the collaboration with FAO, WHO, OA, one high panel of health experts, and other member states, other key stakeholders to be identified, and to have a peer review for member states, and to have the report ready for UNEA 6. The resolution as it is, you can just Google it, UNEP resolution on animal welfare on the website, and you can find it, and you can read it on detail how it works. Why is important? Even having UNEP resolution on animal welfare, that is a unique event because it put really the animal welfare on the table on the environmental agenda, but also on the UN agenda and on the global agenda. It gives more echo, more importance, possibility for high resources because it has been approved by member states. It means that it's priority for the member states. So resource mobilization on behalf of the government doesn't need to have justification because those governments, those member states adopted this resolution, so we can also mobilize on their behalf, though still we didn't mobilize that, but it's helped, that's the resolution, how it works. And then it's now included within our program of work as UNEP. But as UNEP doesn't work alone, it works with many other partners and UN sisters, so it is also part of the other UNEP sisters and organizations, those that they are mentioned here, to implement the resolution. So what we adopted, of course, we took the resolution. UNEP has been asked to coordinate the resolution, to be the focal point for the resolution. From UNEP, I have been designated as the focal point for the resolution. Doesn't mean that I will be implementing the resolution myself, but I will be coordinating. I will be the bridge with many other experts, colleagues, and agencies to implement the resolution. The resolution is a worldwide, is not a UNEP-specific resolution. It called for UNEP to coordinate and to report to the member states and to United Nations Assembly, but is worldwide. It means all the countries adopted, so all the countries agreed to work on the resolution, but they don't reach directly the member states or the UN General Assembly of the reporting, but this should be true UNEP. So it's, let's say, it's not only UNEP that has been asked. It's something that has been approved by member states, so we all work on this, and UNEP coordinate with other UN agencies and organizations on the implementation of the resolution. So as I mentioned, I am the focal point for the resolution, and I'm coordinating with member states or any progress on the resolution, any update on the resolution, organizing workshop or attending events. So I am the one with UNEP, and then I report also to other senior and head of the agency. So what we have done so far, the resolution has been asked us to coordinate and to work closely with FAO, WHO, OA, and high level and quadripartite also. So we established steering committee group. The steering committee will guide us through the implementation of the resolution. Each of the organizations here mentioned FAO, OA, or One Health Panel on Expert, and also quadripartite has designated one focal point where we are meeting. We already had 4 meetings to discuss the resolution and the next step. We have been we are looking for an expert to help in the implementation with the UNEP. As UNEP, we have expertise in wildlife, but not on animal welfare in general. So thanks to Rebecca as our senior consultant, we are working with her. She's now with UNEP, assisting us, UNEP, on having the first report, what we call it, the desk review report, which is an overview of it includes the literature review, it includes the budget, it includes the steps to go toward developing the overall report of the resolution, because the resolution is asking a more comprehensive report, more inclusive report on the nexus between animal welfare, environment, and sustainable development. The UNEA report should be very transparent. The UNEA report should not be biased. The UNEA report should be very inclusive. I don't know if you had a chance to read the GEO, the Global Environmental Outlook of UNEP, or the IPPS report for the climate change. So are really reports that are very comprehensive, and with regional workshop, national workshop. I mean, because if we submit a report at the end and one country is against or see that was not transparent, the report is not accepted. Just one country or more. So we have to be careful on how to develop such a report. And tentatively, it needs a high budget to do it, a budget like this. For the moment, we don't have resources. The few resources that we were able to mobilize will help us only to go for the first step of the report, which is a desk review report. Now, if the resources will be available, we will be ready to just kick off the report very fast. So UNEP, and with the help of Rebecca, she's also on UNEP in this period, we are developing this, this overview desk review report. We sent also some questionnaire to the member state, how they can see the report now, which areas and which format and something like this. So we are just having the first initial draft of this report. As I mentioned, is not a report of UNEA, is a desk review report while waiting for bigger budget to kick off the overall report. The desk review report will guide us on how we develop the report in terms of steps, in terms of contents, in terms of resource mobilization, in terms of budgeting. So when it's ready, so we know how we go, we know the pathway. Once we mobilize resources, tentatively we are looking between 500 and up, I mean, 500,000 minimum to 1 million, 1.5 million to have a more comprehensive report. And that's why the member states ask us, we prefer that you go a more deep analysis with methodology and break down budget that can help us to mobilize the resources. And that's what we are doing. So I didn't want to go on the desk review all because it's still a draft, but initially those are the areas that has been identified within the desk review report that the overall report could contain. I mean, the foundation concept, the food system component, the land and biodiversity, the traditional knowledge, indigenous people and religious and culture, the governance areas, and of course the economic and the trades. This is also subject to comments and discussion we have to share with the member states and have a desk review in November just to go through this desk review, which come from literature review and consultation and some call for evidence that has been sent to the member states for their comments. After the resolution has been adopted by all the member states, a friend of the resolution has been established. A friend of the resolution has been established initially by those countries that sponsored the resolution. There were 6, 7 countries. Now we have 31 countries that are friend of the resolution. What means? Friend of the resolution are friends that they want to push further the resolution. They want to really ensure that there is implementation of the resolution. They want to help UNEP on resource mobilization, on providing additional information. And we are talking about member states, representative of member states, what we call in Kenya, embassies. But each embassy designated someone, are diplomatic personnel that they gather together and they ask UNEP to meet, and we discuss about how we go further, how they can provide help, how they can assist, and how they can mobilize resources. These are friends of the resolution. They are growing. Now they are 31 countries. UNEP act always as secretariat, so we cannot take decision on this because they are all independent member states, but we are there as Secretariat to provide guidance, to provide technical advice on this. Of course, working with our partner, OA, FAO, WHO, and One Health Panel for High Experts, we also take stock of their documentation, their products, their report on the work and collaboration already they have. So what are the next step? The next step is to have this report, this desk review to be finalized that give us a roadmap of the UNEP report, mobilize resources to be able to develop the report. I mean, this is expertise, publication, regional workshop, national workshop, peer review, translations, and I mean, this is quite a big work to be done. And this always guided also by the steering committee members, and then have a review, a peer review to the member states, and including some identify other organizations which need to select and to identify that could help us on the review of the report and the budget. So in grosso modo, this is the resolutions, but we will be happy to provide any further information. You can just reach out to me or to Rebecca to provide you more information about the resolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Abdelkader. I think you were very efficient and fast, so we have some time for some questions. I just have to figure out and see how I can see if there's any questions online. There are none at the moment. Does anyone have any questions from the floor? Sarah here. Compassionate World Farming. Well, please, everyone, introduce yourself and your organisation when asking a question. Thank you.
Thank you. As Laura said, Sarah Ison from Compassion in World Farming. How are you including the Global Biodiversity Framework goals in this review or in this project? Because when I look at those, I think they're so ambitious and they're so linked to this. Are you considering that, and if so, how?
Thank you so much.
It looks like it should be on, is it? It looks like the same as mine.
Thank you so much. This is a good question on GBF. Indeed, it's embedded in the resolution, and one of the components is the land and biodiversity. The biodiversity, what we mean, is to be aligned with the GBF and coming 2020 that has been revised recently. So this point is taken strongly in consideration. It's also one of the agenda of the environment at the moment. So we are fully agree with you, and it's part of it's embedded, will be embedded in the report.
Thank you. Another question in the front row here.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Rowley Owers from World Source Welfare. You talked about the timing, and I think I understood that the full report was due to go to the Assembly next year, 2024. Obviously, with the scoping report soon to be finalised by member states, I assume that timing won't be met. Would that then just be rolled forward to a future meeting of UNEP?
Yeah, I missed this point. Yeah, indeed, we will not be able to provide the report by next year, but we will be able to provide the desk review report, which shows the pathway for the report, how it will be developed, and the budget for the report. and the timeline for the report. So will be aiming not UNEP 6, which is next year, but UNEP 7, which will be in 2 years and a half. This we have to notify to the member states, but we already in the progress report, we have to report to the member state every 3 months. We already mentioned a little bit this, yeah.
Just have a look here. No, I know this. Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
I'm a bit naive, I suppose, about how these things work, but what concerns me, I suppose, personally, my daily work is that I'm worried that animal welfare might be sacrificed at the altar of carbon credits, we'll say, or because there's so much focus and a lot of fear, I suppose, out there about these issues, and it's the little progress we've made in animal welfare, I'm afraid we might lose it, even in Europe where there's a lot of legislation and everything to support it and underpin it. And just in going through the mechanisms of the report, did that fear come up, or do you see how that could happen, or do you think it's going to be safe? Any progress we've made won't be eroded?
I mean, we will take really advantage of all the work that has been done by you all present here and others. So we should not invert the wheel. So the only thing what we need really to show evidence on this, as the resolution is within UNEP coordination and UNEP is the environment, we have been focused more on the linkages between the animal welfare and environment and sustainable development. So footprint, carbon stock, climate change, and the land degradation, all those parts should be mentioned on the report with strong justification that said, okay, now it's part of our mandate. The linkages is so strong, the linkages is there, it will be immediate, and doesn't finish with the implementation and submission of the report. It will be part of our work program of work continuously. So this is a plus, I think. This is the added value of being here, of the work you have been done for the resolution. So I kindly asking all of you to reach out to UNEP. You have our contact, to Rebecca, and provide us with all the information, though. I mean, we are happy to choose the right person to work with us, so the linkages you have and the contact that we are knowing we are not going to miss any point on that.
Great, thank you.
The only point, let's say, for the moment, once the resolution has been approved in March 2022, it has a lot of echo from the member states, from all the organizations who are receiving sometimes 50, 100 emails per day, organization, institutions. But in terms of funding, so far we didn't have any concrete funding coming for the implementation of the resolution. I'm sure it will come. But is that will start making big changes, because that will start having a workshop, getting experts and have a process for reviewing for the lead of the chapters and discussing with them. So this is what we are working on it. Hopefully before the end of the year we can be able to mobilize some resources.
Great. Yeah.
Hello.
Sorry, missed you.
That's okay. Michael Brunt, University of Guelph. In your slides there, I'm just was wondering, you talked about perspectives of indigenous peoples as being an important part here, and I would imagine that whenever you're doing a scoping review and bringing this in and collecting information, it might be challenging to really get at different knowledge systems and ways of producing knowledge that are inherent with a lot of indigenous peoples. And how and where in this process do those different ways of constructing knowledge get integrated into there? Because there's a profound amount of wisdom and value in those.
Yeah, I mean, we agree that it's very important, the traditional and cultural knowledge for the implementation of the resolution. Just if we think about the pastoralist within the livestock, the knowledge they have on conserving their environment, are the pilot, the stewardship of the environment, while also they are keeping their animals and so on. So this traditional knowledge is a key, and we agree all on it. How to collect this information, how to integrate it within the report, this is up to you as an expert. That's why we are doing the report, and we will having discussion with the expert how to bring this and what are the boundaries of the report for not going further. We don't know where to go. So because a lot of information are there, and how far we can go with information collection. But the knowledge of indigenous people and cultural knowledge, we all agree really is the key. And just an example of pastoralists can show how it's important. Losing that knowledge, we lose a big part of our environment, but also our relationship with the animals.
Great. Okay. If there's no more questions, we can catch up. We have a minute. We have a minute extra to pull back on our time. We were slightly late starting, so thank you very much again, Abdelkader. Okay, so we're going to move on now to a series of shorter oral presentations. And the first one is about the development of a welfare assessment tool for small-scale pig farms under extensive production systems in Uganda, I believe. So Nelson Achong is online, I believe. Yes. Hi.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Nelson Achong, and I'm presenting a research on development of a welfare assessment tool for small-scale pig farms under extensive production system in Butemba Town Council, Kyankwanzi district. The number of pigs in Uganda have increased by 41% in a period of 10 years, and that's from 2008 to 2018. And this is being produced by 1.3 million households in Uganda, and extensive production actually accounts for 90%. And this means that when we consider an average household in Uganda, which has about 4.5 members, therefore we can have in Uganda about 5.4 million people depending on piggery production system. And these people who are only depending on extensive production for survival. Much as this extensive system is very important in Uganda and is supporting so many people, the welfare of animals in this production system has actually received very little attention in research as compared to intensive system. And this is probably because people assume that extensive system is good on welfare because it provides the normal or behavioral opportunities for animals to explore around. And basically the research here was aimed at identifying the specific indicators of welfare under the system. Data was collected from about 100 farms, and this had 350 pigs. A checklist was developed from different literature search, and this checklist contained indicators of the 5 welfare aspects, that is of nutrition, physical environment, the health, the appropriate behavior, the mental state, and these indicators were awarded scores which were on 3 scale or 2 scale depending on whether present or absent or positive or negative in that case. A questionnaire survey was also used to collect data, and this was data collected on key health and welfare practices that farmers do in their farms, such as castration and all those things that lie within that range. These indicators were then awarded weight based on the frequency of occurrence in this system. These are some of the pictures that I took during data collection, and from observation here, we can see this pig, it had lost hair, and also it had deep wounds on its leg, showing that it was lame. And I realized that lameness actually contributed about 52% of the 350 animals. And also the body condition score was really very poor. And we can see about 46% of the animals had a very poor body condition score. And this was about 1 to 2 out of 5. And then nose ring was a very common practice that is being done by farmers, and these nose rings are done using this bicycle spokes which they get and then just pierce through the nasal septum of these animals without use of any anesthetics. And this is being done by non-professional people who don't use anesthetics to treat this to do this practice. And then on this one was an animal which was neglected for about 2 days. People just left home and then they came back and found this animal with a broken femur here. You can see that it cannot stand on its 4 legs. It was limping. Yes. These were also another pictures, and I was looking at the environmental conditions. About 49% of the farms had inappropriate environment for these pigs. You can see that the environment here is very littered. It had stones, it had polythene bags, and this is where the pig is being kept. On this side, we see this animal had very serious skin disease, which had made the skin really crusty, and it had lost hair here, and also it had wounds on the legs due to a result of the ropes here, and I found it limping. So after the data was collected, therefore we needed to validate the tool and see whether it is really significant or it is good for application in this production system. And this here is a table indicating one, how increase in severity of these welfare indicators affect the welfare status of the animal, and then this one is indicating whether this is really an important thing or is significant enough for us to use this indicator as a welfare status predictor. So from here we can see that increase in the severity of these indicators from the normal to moderate to worst or severe. We can see that the welfare actually deteriorates with the time from there. These were also indicators assessed at group level, so or farm level. You can see if these were assessed based on how many pigs, groups of pigs at a farm. And also this indicate that as the severity of these indicators increases, so is the welfare becoming worse and worse. Case to look at was castration. Castration in this system is done by the fellow farmers. The majority of these farmers actually use fellow farmers to do castration, and these people do the castration without use of anesthetics, and they cause a lot of pain to these animals during these processes because they are not desensitized. And then medical records, almost all farmers do not keep medical records. This showed how accurate the models were in predicting welfare, and model 1 is for the individual level, where we have lameness, body constituent score, and so on. So this actually showed 90% accuracy in predicting the welfare status of animals in this system. And then model 2 showed about 75% accuracy to predict welfare status. Therefore, I'm very confident that this tool can actually be used to predict animals' welfare status in assessment time. And then challenges first. Many of the farmers were actually very hesitant in provision of information during the data collection, and what I had to do was to provide incentives, and also I got the LCs, the local councils, or the leaders of their community, and these were the people that I moved with to help me capture all those and prevent those challenges. And then some farmers were very aggressive, and these were the farmers who claimed they had lost their animals and then they didn't know where to go and they were not helped. That's what they said in the process. Yes, this research has led to identification of welfare indicators of pigs in this system, and we can actually, from observation from the pictures I've showed you, you can see that the welfare of pigs in this system is not as good as we thought before. And then poor welfare actually is from the observation and during the data collection process. I realized that this was a result of lack of care to these pigs. Many of them are ignored, tied on the ropes, and then left there for ropes to cause a lot of injuries. Then this tool has proven very high ability to predict welfare status of pigs in this system. Yes, and this can be used by either farmers or researchers. There is a need for capacity building for farmers in line with welfare of animals in their care. With that, I would like to acknowledge the contribution of the following organizations and people during this research process. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nelson. We'll go straight and see, is there any questions here from the audience? Yep, we have a question here. If you could just remind you to state your name, please, and where you're from.
Hi, my name's Emma Meller. I'm from the University of Bristol in the UK. Thank you for a really good talk. I was wondering, of all the welfare problems faced by the pigs that you saw, what would you say is the priority?
Aaron, please. I didn't quite get that clearly.
I guess the question is, which is the priority problem? Which was the main problem you saw in the pigs? Welfare problem.
Yes. Thank you so much. The major problem that I saw about this was lameness was very common because especially during the planting seasons where they get these animals and then they keep them on ropes for all that season to prevent destruction of crops.
Thank you. Can I just ask you, Nelson, I might have missed it in the beginning and I'm sorry if I did, but is the main use of the pigs for food for the household eventually, or do they use them for, I might have missed the main purpose of having the pigs. I presume it's for food to kill, or do they use them to rotivate land, or,
Yes, mainly these pigs are being kept by people who are in the villages, so they use this, they sell them for paying school fees, for buying necessities and catering for all things that are at home, majorly.
Okay, because like this is my total ignorance on your country, and because they would be a very valuable commodity then if that's going to be exchanged for money to send the children to school, and you mentioned that they're forgotten. You mentioned that they tie them up and they forget about them, which doesn't add up in my simple naive world. If you really need that pig to sell it to make money for your family. So what exactly is going on there? I mean, obviously there's education, and I suppose it could be other priorities. They're so busy with the daily work and daily that the animal is forgotten.
So mainly this very worst condition normally occur during the planting seasons, where people go to the garden and then they leave these animals alone without anyone to take care of them. So that's when they get this kind of challenge. And during my data collection, I collected data during this period of time. Though I'm not sure about what happens after that period.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? I'll just check and see I hope I'm doing this right, to see if there's any online. I don't think so.
Thank you.
Oh, Stella, sorry. I'm sorry, Stella. It's hard to see people.
Thank you very much. It was a very, very interesting study in a very different scenario. My question is if you are thinking in some economical impact or economical study in order to show those farmers the money that they are losing because of no care of the pigs. So maybe it would be a way to show them and to start changing the way to take care of the pigs. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And during this process and after my graduation, actually, I've gone back to this specific area. This is specifically where I'm working, and I'm trying to engage farmers basically in that line to see to it that they improve the welfare status of their animals to gain more from them. Because I realize that these farmers along the way, they keep animals for a very long time, and it's taking their money, and it's growing very slow due to these welfare challenges. So I'm basically doing sensitization and building capacity in them. Yeah, thank you.
Great, Nelson. Best of luck with your work, and well done on it again. Thank you. Great, thanks a million. So we're moving on to the next study, which is about Humboldt penguins, and it's going to be delivered by Ana Magalhães. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your name properly, from Oporto in Portugal. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. I'm sharing my presentation now. So, my name is Ana Magalhães, and I am a researcher in the field of animal behavior at the University of Oporto, Portugal. It's a pleasure to be here present our work. Today, I will present the study that we are conducting at the Zoo Santo Inácio in Portugal, and its title is The Importance of Animal Behavior Studies in Understanding and Managing Visitor Interactions with Humboldt Penguins in Zoos. Zoos have a crucial role in conserving captive species, which going beyond merely housing them. It's about ensuring their well-being. To this end, it's important to carry out the studies in behavioral studies in zoos to understand physical and mental health status of animals, to check the types of behaviors that are being displayed, and to ensure that the needs of these species are being met. Animals in captivity are daily exposed to different challenges that may affect their welfare. And one of the main challenges, and the most significant for this study, is the presence of visitors. While visitors are not allowed to touch animals, preventing physical harm to both animals and visitors, negative impacts on animal welfare extend beyond physical contact. Even without this physical contact, the animal mental well-being can suffer, hindering the natural behaviors and possible leading to a frustration of or abnormal behaviors. It has been reported that visitors' presence had a negative impact on penguins, since it can cause stress and lead to stereotypies. An example that they found that this study was conducted in the zoo Melbourne in Australia with little penguins. In this study, the presence of visitors led the penguins to display aggressive behavior, high levels of vigilance, and a tendency to avoid visitor area. These behaviors suggest that the presence of certain behaviors exhibited by the visitors may have caused fear and may affect penguin welfare state. On the other hand, it's also observed a positive effect, since it can be considered a type of social enrichment, promoting an increase of behavioral diversity. An example of this can be found in the study in Marwell Zoo in England. And in this study, it was observed that the absence of visitors, penguins spent more time resting and standing near the pool. However, in the presence of the visitors, the penguins exhibit a great swim activity, leading a higher level of behavioral diversity. Another study involving penguins report the visitors had no influence on their behavior. Given the variation in research and on how visitors affect zoo animals, further research is essential to understand how these animals perceive visitors. Here, the main objective was to study the behavioral response of Humboldt penguins that live in a zoo in relation to the presence of visitors. The zoo de Santo Inácio is one of few zoos located in the north of Portugal that receive visitors daily. The 9 penguins that you can see in these slides are the most popular animals in the zoo and are also the focus of this animal behavioral study. The study was carried out in the course of 2 months. As you see here, we start with observations ad libitum. During the period, this period, the penguin was observed, or behavior of penguin was observed in the free way to generate an ethogram of the species. And then we start with systematic observations, and the penguin behavior was observed in the presence and with and without the presence of visitors. The behavior of penguins was recorded on video, and visitors' behavior was recorded manually. Sessions with visitors were conducted when there are more than 3 individuals near the enclosure. The behavioral analysis was conducted using a scan sample for the penguin group, recording behavior and the zone of the enclosure used. Birds were observed randomly. The ad libitum observation results in an ethogram of 40 behaviors divided in 9 behavioral categories, including behaviors related to locomotion, feeding, play, comfort, vocalization, social, and visitors' interactions. And as you can see in this picture, penguins enclosure was divided in 7 areas, and the area A2 was the visitor observation area. Regarding the time budget results, penguins spend 53% of their time outside the observation zone. When they are visible, they spend most of their time standing still, walking, or engaging in comfort behaviors. They spend 8% of their time in swimming and only 1% interacting with visitors. When we compare the behavior of penguins in the presence and absence of penguins, no significant difference were found. When comparing occupation of space, we observe that the presence of visitors, penguins change their distribution across different areas. Visitors increase the frequency of penguin occupation in areas close to them, area A2, or in the pool. However, also increase the occupation of nest zone and increase the time out of sight. So, although visitors had no direct influence in penguin behavior, they did alter the distribution of space. It was observed that penguins in presence of visitors tend to occupy areas close to them or increase time in the pool. However, the presence of the visitors tend to stay more, the penguins tend to stay more out of sight. It's crucial for well-being of these animals to have some control over their environment, allowing them to decide if they want to be in the presence of the visitors. This choice may vary depending on age, health status, and animal personality. Animal behavior studies inform which animal can have increased public exposure, aiding in optimizing educational and conservation efforts of institution. This research contributes to the welfare of both humans and animals by facilitating the development of effective visitors management strategies aimed to ensure the well-being of penguins while enhancing the overall visitor experience. I would like to state that practical work presented here was conducted by Anna Nunes, a master student of program Marine Science in the Institute of Biomedical Science, Abel Salazar. I would like to express our gratitude to the Quinta Santo Inácio Zoo for welcoming students from our faculty. Together we can contribute to a better well-being. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, for a lovely talk, lovely pictures. Thank you. Have we any questions from the audience? Yes, we have one on the back here.
Bueno, felicitaciones por la presentación.
I wanted to thank you. I'm Deborah Rashati from Buenos Aires. And when you were talking about the interactions between the visitors and the penguins, what kind of behaviors did you identify, or interactions? What kind of interactions there were and what behaviors did you find?
So when people are talking with the penguins and try they come to near them, sometimes they come and they observe, and they are near the zone that the people are staying there to see the animals. So sometimes it's clear that animals want to see humans and want to observe and interact by observing and corresponding to the calls.
Y siempre fueron positivas.
But were all the interactions positive?
Yes, but we saw that only some individuals do that. Others go to the enclosure to the local of the enclosure that they don't see people. So I think it's for some individuals it's important to have this kind of interaction, but for others no.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience here? No. I might just ask you something, Anna. I don't know, again, much about zoos, but I was reading recently that I was, again, naively not aware of, is that some zoos, and I'm not sure about the one in Porto, have overnight facilities. Maybe it's just for more dangerous animals where they're taken off exhibition. So I suppose the public goes to the zoo and sees the animals with their water facilities in a nice diverse environment, not knowing that at night they're often put into a much less superior enclosure.
Okay, there are some animals that are like that because there are some problems with managing some kind of animals, but with penguins, no. Okay. They are free to move and to choose. Okay, I think it's people are knowing better each species, knowing its their behavior, and they are trying to adapt things to a better way of treating them. But in some species it's more difficult, so we are not in the good way to how to treat them in this case. But for these penguins in specific, they can move in all spaces during all time.
Oh, very good. Good, that's nice to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions from the floor? I don't have any online that I can see. No. Okay, then we move on. Thanks again, Anna. Thank you. Okay, so our next talk is about reducing the use of hot iron branding for cattle, an approach to the One Welfare concept, from Mateus Paranhos from Brazil. Thank you, Mateus.
Hello, everybody. It's good morning. Very early here in Brazil. This is a challenge for us that we are 5 hours behind you. But I'm happy to be here. First of all, I would start explaining what we did. This is a research and extension project that we developed during the years 2021, 2022, and now we are preparing a new action for the next year to spread the idea. So here is a summary of what we did during this period of 2 years, working on directly with the beef cattle farmers, trying to reduce the use of hot iron branding for cattle identification. In Brazil, there are actually two pieces of legislation related to hot iron branding cattle. First one is a law published in 1965 that defined the places, the area in the cattle body where the brand should be positioned, like you can see in the picture up in the screen. And the second one is a normative from the Ministry of Agriculture related to the use of this hot iron brandy during the brucellosis vaccinations. It's applied only for heifer calves, and they define that it should be branded in the face, as you can see in the photo. However, people in Brazil are positioning the brands, the hot iron branding, in many different parts of the cattle body, as you can see in the photos down in the picture. In some cases, it's a pity, I would say, but people are using the hot branding in a very wrong way. Like you can see in the right side of the photo, they the farmer used to brand the month and year of each calving of this cow. So every time that the cow calved, they branded 4 digits, or 3 digits, depending on the month, on the body of the cows. The first legislation was to avoid this, to avoid the downgrading the value of height. Was nothing related to animal welfare, was only related to the economic aspect of the impact of this have on the latter commercialization later. So one point is, first of all, hot iron branding results in animal suffering. It's a 3rd degree burn for each digit branded. And there is I think everywhere around the world, there is a view that this is normal. This is, everybody does like that. My father did, my grandfather did, and I am going to do the same. So, like I said, tempo grinding, it's bad becoming normal. People just don't consider the stress and the risk for the laborers, also for the people, the cow hands that are doing this work. We did a study trying to understand what happens during the work, the hot iron brand work. So we noticed that there is an increase in air temperature in the area, in the local where the work is carried out by 2.5 degrees centigrade. And the level of noise in this environment increased by 30.5 decibels. This is product of the propane branding iron heater that is very noisy really, and sometimes they are on the entire day, from 7 in the morning, they stop around 2 hours for lunchtime and till midday or 11, and then for 1 or 2 to 5 or 6. And there is also another problem related to the people who are doing the work. They are inhalating this smoke that you can see in the right side of the photo during the entire day. So it's an effect, a negative effect also on the people who are doing this work. Our project started, the name of the project is Reducing Hot Iron Branding. Someone could ask me, why not eliminating? This was a strategy, because if you started talking about elimination, many people would not accept our suggestions. So then this was supported by some companies, because we travel around the country. We selected 5 farmers located in different regions of Brazil to be our reference farms to spread the idea later. First of all, we sent a survey for the farmers, for beef cattle farmers. We sent for 5,000 people, and we received 1,231 responses. I call the attention here for 2 questions. The first one was this: how do you see the proposal to replace hot iron branding with other methods of cattle identification? It was very nice to see that more than 50%, 55% said that they see something like interesting, but they have doubts about the efficiency of alternative methods. Okay, and also plus 16%, they don't have opinion because they need more information. Okay. The second question, we asked more questions. I'm summarizing here. We asked, what is your opinion on the statement? In addition to the damage of the letter, the hot iron branding is an aggression on cattle skin. 50%, around 50%, the responses were relevant due to the injuries and the stress caused to the animals. And another important percentage, 28% response that was related to partially relevant, as it depended on the hot iron brand, on how the hot iron brand is applied. Only 12% answers related to this irrelevant, doesn't make sense. This was a surprise for us. We were expecting a more negative approach on this question here, but we were happy with that. These were the 5 farms that took part in the project: Fazenda Orvalho das Flores, Camburi, Agro Pastoril Rio Corrente, São Clemente Agro e Fazenda das Palmeiras. They are all represented here for these pictures. The first farm that we start working, the farmer said, but the hot iron brand is the most efficient method for cattle identification. Then we did a study in his farm. We assessed the efficiency of reading the ID, the identification of cattle in 1,304 cattle, okay? And who did the reading? What was the best cow hand, the best person who were doing this every day in the farm? They did 6% of mistakes, wrong reading. Not because they were mainly not legible, they were not easy to read. And he was asking us also that the ear tags would be lost in short period of time. Yes, it occurs, but we have only 1% or less than 1% of ear tags lost. So after that, we convinced him to move it forward and to adopt the recommendations. This was the farm. The farm used to have all these marks. Before, you can see the right and left side of the cow body, where they used to put to position the mark, the hot mark. And then today they are using only one, is the farm, there's the property ID, but they change all the cattle ID using these ear tags and also electronic tag for to improve reading and efficiency in the work. And to avoid these numbers here in the front leg of the animals is related to the month and year of, in this case, when they buy, because they don't have cow-calf operation. They buy, we need the calf to background and fattening later. So they used to put these brands for the month and year of when they buy. And they changed this using the colors of the ear tags to identify month and year of they buy the animals. Here is coming back. In 1 year, just doing this, considering of course the number of animals in the farm, we reduced 10,000 hot iron brands in this farm, only in this farm. Next farm, Fazenda Orvalho das Flores, they eliminate completely all the brands that are not compulsory. They are using only this in the face that is defined by the Minister of Agriculture after female vaccination, brucellosis vaccination. So you have to do. It's a compulsory. In this case, the reduction was more than 14,000 marks, hot iron brand marks. Fazenda Camburi, same situation with the brucellosis brand, but they eliminate completely, like the Fazenda Orvalho das Flores, the others hot iron brands, even the brand from the farm, the property brand, they eliminate all of this. And this is São Clemente Agro, where the change was bigger, because the farm is bigger, there are more animals in this farm. We reduced they reduced actually, I was not involved in the reduction, I was just offering the suggestion in how to change it. 32,000, okay? So in this case, they decide to keep the property brand also, like the first farm. And the last one, they reduce it to 20,000 brands, and they keep it. Before they used to put the property brand in the back of the cow, now it's in the leg, like the legislation define. So in total, in total, we have more than 70,000 hot brands, reduction in rot brands. If you go to the farms and ask to the people if they would like to come back to start hot branding the cattle again, the answer is no. And the explanation is very tiring work, very difficult to do, high risk of accidents, labor accidents. So they are happy. People who are working there, they are happy to stop this. So we produced a guide on this subject. It's in Portuguese. For now, maybe we can translate it in the future. And in this picture, you can see the old generation, the cow is branded. You can see here month and year of birth, but the calves are not branded anymore. So we also produced the 4 tutorials that are easy to see even in your mobile phone, for example, to orientate the people how to do it, how to go a step forward. As I said in the beginning, we are planning to start the second step of this project next year, spreading the idea. Now we have a good results that can help us to convince other people to move in this way to reduce hot iron branding for beef cattle identification. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mateus. It's so nice to see a lovely, positive, good news story. That's really impressive. Reduction in animal suffering and human suffering. Fantastic. Questions? Rebecca is first here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matteo, for this inspiring talk of something that is improving. And it looks that you're having a great impact. My question was whether you think eventually, after all the work you're doing on dissemination and expansion, we will not see hot branding anymore, and how long do you think that will take?
Well, this is a difficult question. I don't know. This is, for example, we are in direct contact with the people in the Ministry of Agriculture, trying to change also the branding for brucellosis. But it's not it's a political issue, not easy to change. They are so resistant. There are also people, like you saw in one of my slides, 12% of people think that this is irrelevant, that it's not a case for a concern. So I think, I don't know if I understood well your question, but I think that the progress will be slow, but sustainable. I would say people who change, they would not go back.
Sorry. Thank you, Mateus. And if I might, for those that are resisting, yesterday we had a talk about One Welfare and fashion and design. And I wonder if maybe you would introduce in those that are not phasing out hot branding, the design of the hot brands. This is something I looked into a while back, and the design actually has an impact on the strength of the burned suffering on the animals. So brands that have closer shapes, more together, concentrate the heat in a very specific part of the body, and the burnt degree is higher, the suffering is higher, so the design of the brand also has an impact. And I wonder if maybe that's, whilst it's being phased out, something that you could look into. Thank you.
Rebecca, do you know that here in Brazil, I think the technology of hot iron brand is very high technology, I would say. There is the legislation, I didn't talk about that define the size. It's 8 centimeters, not bigger than that. But and also this situation that when you have brands that are compact, I would say, they have to the iron have to be cutted. I don't know if I make me understand. Like this pen, there is a cut here, space between the iron, between the two pieces of the iron so resulting in that this in the corners, for example, you don't have exactly a corner, because in the corner here there is a space between the two lines. So due to this, it's the risk that you said is lower, goes lower.
Okay. Time is up, but I do have one quick question. I should know this, but freeze branding, I presume there's a bit of pain involved with that as well, but...
There are a lot of papers about freeze branding and showing that it's less painful. However, it's not easy to apply.
Okay.
Even if you are using dry gelo seco, dry ice or nitrogen, you have to keep the iron on the bodies, on the cattle body for at least 30 seconds. The ideal is 1 minute. And how can you be sure that the animal will be waiting for you 30 seconds or 1 minute to have a good brand? And the other question here in Brazil for us, 70% of our cattle, beef cattle, is white. And then
okay.
work.
Thanks a million. Thank you again, Mateus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on to our final presentation, and I know Bergini is here, Resconi. She's going to talk about solutions for more sustainable production of beef.
Okay, hello. Good morning, everybody, and thank you to give me this opportunity to speak about a project that we've been working during 3 years, 2020, 21, and 23, and was an European project. The idea was to search for solutions for beef farmers in order to have a more sustainable beef production. Well, I don't know why I'm speaking now in English. I was supposed to speak in Spanish, but it doesn't matter. Maybe I can continue in English. So, can I have Okay, this is May Benchon from Teagasc, the same institution from Laura, and she was coordinating this project. The project was involving 18 partners and representing researchers, advisors, and also beef farmers. The project involved 9 European countries and also the UK. Well, and this is me, but also you can see me here. So as we know, there are many challenges that are facing the European beef sector. One of them is related to the environmental sustainability. We know that as ruminant, they deliver emissions, methane, for example. Also, we know that there are some issues about or that we need to improve, or we can improve animal health and welfare, for example, related to lameness, or also we can improve, we always can think how to improve the management of the housing to be more to improve the necessities of the animals. And at the same time, beef production involves humans. The system has to be profitable for the farmer. We also have to think in ways to improve their workload and the conditions of their work, but also it has a human component for the society because because it is produced food that is eaten, and it's better if it's healthy. And of course, also people want to enjoy the food that is eaten, so also we are interested in improving the eating quality. So all these topics are related to one welfare, but as we know, they are not separated in the welfare approach, but of course, these topics are linked. As for example, if a farmer is is doing good work in the animal welfare, having very specific high standards. He wants that the people knows about this and notice that the consumer and the society. Or, for example, if he's following or is doing an effort to reduce emissions, also they need to have some gains, like monetary or something needs to be taken. Also, there are some challenges that takes all these topics. For example, if we optimize the number of calves per cow per year, we are improving animal health and welfare, but because, for example, the mother has to be well nurtured, and the calf has to be well managed. Of course, it will improve the efficiency, so it will be more money for the farmer and a cheaper product for the society. And of course, if it's more efficiency, also it will reduce emissions. So that's why we thought in this project, and it's called Bovine. The idea was to search for solutions for this kind of challenges. So we identified the farmer needs, asking them directly. In the end, we identified 24 needs, and then we just searched for solutions related to these needs. We were split in 4 thematic areas: socioeconomic resilience, animal health and welfare, production efficiency and equality. I was leading that section, and environmental sustainability. And this process was repeated for 3 years. So how we work, we first develop our methodology. In each of the 9 countries, there were national or regional networks developed and that were close to the farmers. And then also we have developed European networks specific to each of the topics that we were dealing. And of course, then there was a lot of work related to communication and dissemination of our results, and we've been all coordinated. So the solutions were, we can divide the solutions in research solutions and in good practices. So for the research solutions, it was the European networks that were working on that, looking at research studies, but also talking with experts. And then the good practices were practices already doing by some farmers, and the idea was that the farmer was interviewed and they shared their experiences that maybe could help to other farmers to know the advantages of doing this good practice. Here I can show you one example. In the end, we had more than 300 solutions, but I will show you just a bit. And one of these is the virtual fencing. This is a project that is in the Pyrenees, and the idea, well, this project is a pilot project. It's not yet commercialized, but we talked with the farmer where the test was made, and he said that the system worked and avoid risks of falling the animals in dangerous mountain areas, but still the system is expensive. About this topic, we also prepare a webinar, and here we have a person from UK that he was using a commercialized device. And he was explaining that in only 1 week the animals were trained, and that it was very helpful in his project that was a rewilding project because they cannot use physical fences. Here is another example. In this case is from Germany, and they have a transportation of animals from more than 100 of kilometers of live animals. So they developed an application that was following all the trip with a multilingual and self-explanatory application. And the idea was to show, taking pictures and taking the information to know that the animals were following the rules, and also to show how they were in all the stages of the trip. Here also there were developed goggles. The idea was that humans can see in the way that animals see, and to change the equipment or anything in the farm to adapt to this. Or, for example, the use of drones to map where are meadow birds in order to take care about the biodiversity. Or here an application that is used to just with a picture of the cat to know the amount of intramuscular fat that is related to eating quality. But not all the solutions were like high technologies, and so sometimes there was just management or simple tools that also can be helpful. In this example, this is a French farmer that he doesn't have unproductive females. So all the pregnant cows are kept, but if they're not pregnant, they're going to fattening. So they have cool cows younger than usually, so they have a good price for the carcasses, and also the calving interval is reduced compared to the national numbers. Or here we have a German farmer that's just using a tape. He can decide where is the right timing for the first mating. That is very important because it cannot be lower than it should be, neither longer, and this also improves the efficiency of the farm. Or here we have another example from Spain, and these were farmers with extensive systems, and they were not very profitable, the systems, so they decided to join each other and to become ecological. More or less the system was already ecological, but they got the brand, and they are selling directly their meat to the consumers. So now they can continue with the activity. And here we have an example in Portugal. In this example is called Terra Prima, and the idea was to use the farmers in order to sequestrate carbon, and the idea was that with the animals they could keep that pastures alive for many years, knowing or teaching about how to do the management. And I think that the good thing of this project is that instead of always like the farmer is doing wrong things, so here was the opposite, so the farmer was paid for the service they were doing to the environment. And here also I have two examples of what we did in the project and what it was we were supposed to do. So for example, here we can see an example of a solution identified by the European network. One of them was related to gentle touching in early life in order to reduce stress, in order to improve the human and animal relationship, and also maybe less poetical, but also to improve meat quality. So we found that article interesting. Also there was, so then there was a demonstration in Germany, and there was some advisor explaining how to do this methodology, how to apply, and then finally a farmer applied this innovation, and now is realizing the results, and I'm happy with this innovation. And here we have another example, and this is related to the use of appeasing pheromones. and also to improve, to reduce stress, because sometimes even if we do things the best as we can, there are moments that are stressful for animals. And there was organized webinar, and in Estonia, some farmers were interested, and even if the company was not supposed to sell in Estonia, but because of the interest of farmers, now they're buying this product and they're happy because it's not expensive and they see good results. So for all the work, I can say many things, but I just choose a few words as a conclusion. That I can say that not all the solutions improves always all the aspects of one welfare, and that sometimes some innovations are not ready to use, and we need to work further. And of course, that some of the solutions are not maybe cannot apply in all situations and regions, but what we saw is that the sector is making a lot of efforts to be more sustainable. So, muchas gracias, or thank you. You have all the information in the website, and also you can contact me if you need further details. Okay.
Thank you very much, Resconi. That was very interesting. Can I ask you just one clarification? It wasn't all farmers employing some form of grass-producing beef production systems. No, there were in total confinement systems as well.
Yes. The idea was to improve all type of productions. Yeah.
Sorry, I just wasn't 100% sure on that. Thank you. Yeah. We have time for one quick question from the floor, if there is one.
Can I have one?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for this presentation, and this is excellent research. It's really impressive. You talk about soil improvement and carbon sequestration. Have you used specific method to this, or was through management observation? And if you have managed to have beef certification also during this season? Thanks.
Yes, this was not something that we did. The idea was to find other solutions, and in this case that you're asking is about a Portuguese scheme, and it was a national level. And also, if you are interested, I can give you more information. But what they did was to promote to grow the pastures. To grow the pasture and to teach farmers how to manage the management of the animals to continue to keep this pasture for years. And in the beginning they pay farmers for implementing this system. I can give you more information if you need.
So our time is up, but there are just two quick points from online. I might have missed this one about the hot iron branding. I think it's a good point from Britta Mescher, talking about the legibility of a hot iron brand versus an ear from afar, that it's obviously much easier to read from afar. Sorry, it's relating to the previous talk, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. It is a good point. For you, it's a very quick question, Resconi. Is there, other than in Ireland, and I don't even know if it's happening in Ireland, are there any other European countries operating solely no fence, virtual fencing? And the point is being made by Julia Clark that where there are lots of predators, is that really a feasible option? But do you know of any other country?
Yes. To me it was really surprising, because when I was talking about virtual fencing, for me it was something like very in the future. I know that in Australia or in another, even in Brazil now, they're also starting to think in this. But I was surprised because I found many Spanish farmers that were interested by their own and to use this, and also for the moment they say that this is expensive, but also they are thinking that they offer a service, for example, to reduce fire problems. So yes, there are farmers interested in using it, and in the mountains also can be very useful.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And thanks again to you and to all the other speakers. And we'll break for coffee.